Hey guys, welcome to another episode of WoT. Now, this episode is a bit different because this is featuring the 2-7 American artillery, the M40-43. A bit different because this is actually artillery. I wasn't sure about actually recording an artillery game because I wasn't sure if people would actually be interested in it, because it's something that not a lot of people like for various reasons, and and it's not the most interesting thing ever, but I figured there are people that play artillery and may be up for learning some tricks and whatnot.
Time to roll out.
Now, starting off here, I can't remember this game very well because I just figured whatever, I may as well record an artillery game, so I looked for one of my better ones. Now, my two highest damage ones happened to turn out to be losses, so I went with the best win. Kind of sucks that they were losses. Actually, it was a loss and a draw, and there may have been another loss above this one. So one thing about the 40-43, I can't catch a break with this friggin' thing. All the games I do very, very, very good in, getting like 5,000 damage, if not more, they turn out to be losses. Just, it bites. Now, with this artillery, you can expect to get in only tier 10 games, which is okay because your gun is pretty good. And it takes a little while to get used to after the M12, considering you're going from the fast-firing, accurate gun to a less accurate, high-damage splashing gun. Now here, I am gonna disconnect a little bit just because I like to switch out and move around, as getting counter-battered sucks. I am getting better now with watching the shells going. You see, I did actually hit the T69 when he went camoed. I didn't hit him for much, but I hit him, which is something. Actually, I may not have even hit him. That may have been all splash damage. Now here I'm aiming north because you can get angles in the city, but I tend to leave that until late game, so I may be able to splash people if needed. I prefer to support one way in their push. Fire the T69, but he ends up getting murdered by T71 before my shell hits. This gun really is quite good. You can expect to do 500 damage to anything you hit if it's a direct hit. Maybe you'll get unlucky if you hit a Moss in the front and he has a spall liner. Other than that, you're gonna be fine. And if you're an artillery and ever see a French tank destroyer, shoot the son of a bitch. They're big, they've got no top armor, their armor all around is mediocre, so as long as you hit them, you'll be fine. Then, immediately after supporting that north push, when I can't see anything else up there, I switch my focus over to the city, because I notice they have pushed up and they're closer to our base than they're hiding in the town, so I'll be able to get angles on them. And it's actually closer, so I don't have to worry too much about fly time. Actually, I stand corrected, it's pretty much the same distance, if not slightly further. That Fosh did not get lucky, he got his ass blown up. So here I see two I-7s sitting all buddy-buddy, so I decided to take a couple shots at them. Because when you've got a gun with such great splash, you may as well take shots at double guys. Aim to hit one of them, and try and get as close to the other one as you possibly can. Because splitting damage can be okay, but generally 2 splashes won't be as good as a hit and a splash. Especially if you can get sides. In artillery, you always want to be focused on that. If you can hit a weak spot of a tank, do it. Because it just means you're going to do more damage. It's I-7 trying to be all sneaky. Got unlucky again. It's nothing. Artillery, it's an essential part of the game. I'll take the game to kind of explain my views on it. You'll rag on artillery. You can rag on all you want, but your team also has artillery. Like, whether you notice it or not, they're having an impact on the game. Most of the time, unless you get very unlucky. So, you can hate on artillery all you want, but even if you haven't noticed it, it's probably saved your life. Boom, bitch. That's what I'm saying with hit and miss. Or hit and splash. I went for the other I7 because I knew if I hit him I could probably kill him. And then I would splash the other guy. Always looking for guys that I can kill and finish off. And artillery, I hate the update that's coming, because if it's seriously a nerf to artillery, I'm going to be mad. Because artillery is not overpowered as is. Tier 7, it can do 700 to pretty much anyone. If you fire an AP shell and you're smart about it, you can do 1,000, you can do wicked amounts of damage. But the thing is, like, it's only natural. They're only ever going to end up in tier 10 games. There are already tanks that can do much higher damage. Like, it's really not that big of a thing. They're not all-knowing gods either. You need to be smart, you need to get lucky, you need to know your positions to be a great artillery player. And if they're putting that much of a commitment into being a great artillery player, it's not the tank, it's the person. Like, it's another thing. You can be great in a tank, but people aren't gonna hate on it so much, because it's just one person being very good in a tank. Whereas, if it's artillery it's something that's very easy to pick on, because it's people that are very good artillery players. They just understand how to do it, and they understand positioning very easily, and all that random crap. So, it really pains me to see artillery getting nerfed in such a way, especially with all artillery receiving, like, global not buffs, nerfs. It's just, I don't see the need for it, really. Now, this game's definitely coming to a close, and I feel I needed to get that off my chest in some video. This one is just good to get it out. You can see, yeah, I did some good damage to people, like 1700 is pretty good, but in a guaranteed tier 10 game, you're talking tier 9, tier 10 tanks, really, at this point, that I'd be sitting in for. And I've uploaded videos with me doing much more than that in tanks of tier 9 and 10 value. That's the thing, just think about it, like, I've got a wicked reload here too, like 33 something. It's just think about it, like, is artillery really overpowered? Some artillery is powerful, yes. I'll admit the grill I've definitely called overpowered on more than one occasion, and the SU-26. But it takes, the main reason I say they're overpowered is because people play them and get crews with just 3-4 crew skills, and at that point, if you've played that many games in a tank, it's understandable. Like, I rag on it so much, but I understand it. And I feel I probably shouldn't as much as I do. Now, any tank will do that. If you play 200, 300 battles in a tank, you've got a wicked crew, you're gonna do great in that tank. It's only natural at this point. Now, and one thing I don't get is why? Why choose artillery to rag on? Like, yeah, it shoots and it can hit most of the map, but it can't hit everywhere. It takes a real player to know positions and, like, understand what the enemy team's gonna do to excel in a game. And everyone's gonna have games where they do less than satisfactory. I've got more than one screenshot showing artillery having done no damage at all. It's just another tank class, really. And I say people saying they're overpowered, but that's really calmed down recently, hasn't it? Like, with all the new tanks coming in and different things, people aren't focusing on this as much as they used to. I don't know how to feel about it, really. From here on out, it's probably going to be going on with this point, so you can probably stop if you're in it for the game. And it was really a mediocre game if you look at it, like 2,700 damage, that's not great. If it's in a tier, well, it's good. Yeah, it's good, but it's not great. It could definitely have been better. It's a weird thing, like, I kind of want to say, like, tier 7 would be the equivalency of tier 10 being always in tier 10 battles, but because there's tier 8, I can't say that. It's really, like, equal to a tier 9 tank, which is something. Like, what tier 9 tank can't do this? Can't do 27 damage in battle? Like, hell, if, like, it's silly. Artillery also has power, certain power over games that other tanks don't. Sure, 5 artillery team is absurd. That is not needed. That slows down the game. That makes people stop having fun. It's even hard for an artillery player to have fun in that, because there's just people hiding from you all game. And then there's like 2 or 3 artillery on the enemy team that want to counter batter all game. It just it slows everything down. I would like to see a cap of at most 4, 3 being, of course, 3 is an okay number. 2 is, it's also quite good because then you still have 2. 1, that's stupid. You don't need 1 per team. I would say 2, 3, 4. 4 is pushing it. 2, 3 is definitely better. Now, like, I feel if they just limited how many there were, people would stop complaining as much. I don't think people complain about it, but anyone can pick up artillery and start playing it. A lot of people don't play it because they don't like it. Like, they find it's hard. Some people say, oh, it's super noob mode. Yeah, but it really depends on the enemy team. Like, if a team's camping hardcore, yeah, it's definitely going to be easier for artillery because they can just simply adjust and blow the living snot out of anyone hiding. Because that's what artillery is in here for. I don't feel they need any kind of nerf. They just simply need to be capped at a lower number. Because it slows down some games when there's too many, but it speeds up others when there's the right amount. Because if you think about it, if the enemy team's camping insanely hard, say they've got 4 or 5 tank destroyers just chilling somewhere, what are you going to do about that? It's incredibly hard to break that many tanks out of a hiding spot without artillery. Artillery is great because then they put pressure on the guys sitting there. It makes them think. It makes them try and maybe push out, try and do something. And then, like I said, 5 makes people hide, and then it definitely slows everything down. But 2, 3, that makes people move. It's all about how you look at it, really. That's the main point that I have for artillery not being overpowered. It's just look at it from a different perspective. Like, if there's no artillery, I could simply play tank destroyers all day, especially if I was playing something like a T-95. A T-95 on a map, when I played it, if I had no artillery on the enemy team, I would laugh. I could sit up right out in the open and just blow the shit out of anyone that tried to come near me. And then I'd bounce them for days. Of course, it's not invincible. If there's a bunch of them pushing on me, it'd be incredibly hard to fight that. But say you run into a platoon of 3 T-95s. What are you gonna do then? Your artillery's gone. They can pretty much just point their 3 guns at anything that they're gonna run across and just put 1 shell into them. That guy's gone. Like, jeez. Long story short, artillery's really not overpowered. There's just too many of them sometimes. That is how I see it. Again, if you have a video you'd like to send in, you would want me to critique anything, point out your flaws, you want me to say you did a great job, you can do that. The email address will be in the description, and something else I probably said, much like at the end of the last video. What would it have been? If I send in a video, feel free. If you have a request for a tank, feel free to ask that too. So that was a Tawalshi with facefulloffail, playing World of Tanks, and going on a rant about artillery, because I don't see it as overpowered. If you think I'm wrong, feel free to dislike, make a comment, because hell, if you're disliking, it's showing that you have feelings about the video. That means I'm doing my job, right? I made you feel something. There may be a part 2 to this if I feel the need to. You never know.